So I just finished watching What Lies Below, and oh, 2020, you've given me so many gems. Oh my god. There's a couple, like, good movies I watched recently, and I was like, maybe I should talk about this, but then it's like, I don't know what else to say besides, like, no, I really liked it. But it's like, what about it? I just, like, really liked it. It's like, that's not gonna make a good video. Anyway, so here we've got a movie that I'm just, like, not having it with. So, What Lies Below came out, I don't know, like, a month ago? Couple weeks ago. I don't know. I rented it. So, anywho, just the usual thing I'm doing right now is trying not to just scream the spoilers because I'm just losing it. Like, I literally, at one point, just started cracking up, like, scream laughing as I tend to do. And I was like, immediately I knew this is a review, you know? Like, if I'm getting such a strong reaction, I have to review it. So, this movie's about some, like, 16-year-old girl named Liberty, why not, and she just came home from, like, 2 months of summer camp, because that's what kids do, and, her mom is Mina Savari. I had to, like, look at freaking Letterboxd, because I always get Mina Savari and Mira Sorvino confused, because they're two white girls with names, you know, and, so yeah, she gets home, oh, like, mother's got a boyfriend kind of stuff. Also, by the way, this is a horror film, you know? So, gets home and it was like, oh yeah, you know, like, mom's like, oh, there's my boyfriend. And so, of course, it's like, we're white people with money, and so they live, like, out, like, you know, by a lake kind of shit. And so then, like, fucking, like, mama's new boyfriend comes out, shit you not, like, out of the water, like, glistening. You know, and he's got, like, banana hammock fucking Speedo on. I mean, not full banana hammock, but he is wearing a small, you know, thing there, you know. So you can see the stuff that he's got hidden there, like an apple or something, an apple and a banana, some snacks for later. So, anyway, he comes out, you know, dripping wet. He's got, you know, some kind of, some situation of chest hair and body hair, you know, not too hairless. He's fit. Like, just playing with my tits now. It's just like, he's not, like, ripped, but, you know, he's trimmed. Anyway, he's definitely trimmed all around here. So he comes out, of course, you know, now it's like, I just started laughing. I was just like, isn't this how, like, porn starts? Because it's like, you know, mom had, you know, stepdaddy, you know, and then, like, she's 16, you know, like, anyway. So she's looking at him, and she's like, biting the lower lip, like, oh my god. And I'm like, girl, he's banging your mom. Don't, ew. You know? And of course she's like, like, shit you not, the 16-year-old is looking at this man like, what's the whatever cartoon with the wolf, ooh, like, hitting themselves in the head, you know, like, she practically was like that, you know. And I get it, you're 16, teenagers, hormones, all that stuff. I mean, when I was 16, I was, like, dead inside, you know, so really not that much of a difference. Anyway, so of course, like, the guy is, like, too good to be true, like, that kind of shit. And so I thought at first it was going to be kind of like the stepfather, whether the original or the remake, because there's a stepdad. And going into this, you know already, it's in, like, the, you know, genres it's ticked off is, it's mystery, thriller, horror. So you're like, okay, it's going to be some shit. But then, yeah, this guy has this, like, too good to be true kind of thing because, you know, he's tall and attractive and he's got shoulders and stuff, you know, and then when he, you know, when he's clothed again, he's got a tight shirt on, you know, and I'm like, stop trying to be Chris Evans, you'll never be, okay. Oh yeah, he's got, like, you know, like, the beard, but not, like, full beard, but, like, you know, enough, you know, like good, like, 2-week growth kind of stuff. Very well manicured, you know, with the line and the thing and the ha, you know, dark hair, dark eyes, and I'm just watching it being like, stop, you know, the entire time they want you to, like, fall in love with this guy, and I was like, no. Like, what movie did that well was The Guest with Dan Stevens. Dan Stevens, mind you, is a very good-looking guy, but I was like, damn! Like, when I saw him in that movie, I was like, is he really the killer? Like, maybe he's not. Like, that was me watching The Guest. Anyway. So with this, yeah, so I was like, the guy had cause he was too creepy. He was not, like, for me, I'm like, not aesthetic pleasing for me. Like, there's something creepy with the face, a little too rapey in the eyes, you know, that kind of shit. I was like, you know. Anyway, so of course it's like, you know, oh my god, there's one part where, like, the girl, like, she's like, they're in the kitchen because it's like a breakfast time or whatever shit, and then he goes to, like, grab something from, like, the shelf, and so of course his shirt comes up, and then you see, like, you know, you see the V, the V, you know. You see that shit? And so, of course, like, the camera just, like, zooms in on, like, you know, the fucking waistband of his fucking jeans with his belt, you know, and then just, like, trim stomach with the V, and then, like, his, like, fucking Happy Trail stuff, and the girl is, like, just, like, looking at him, and I was like, is this porn? Did I put on porn? I just thought, like, I wasn't on a porn site, just I paid, like, yeah, I was on food, and it just, am I watching porn, you know, and it's, oh my god. So it's a lot of that, and I'm just like, oh god, like, already, I'm like, the writer-director of this is just, he has an idea, you know? So, anywho, so, the mom, oh, like, the movie kind of moves a little. The mom is actually 42. Apparently, she never told the guy how old he is. Like, oh, he thinks I'm probably, like, 35. And I'm kind of like, oh, okay, girl. Whatever you think. You know? Oh, and so the guy, because he's so perfect, he's a scientist, right? And he's got, like, a lab thing in the basement of their house. Which, okay, I guess, because the girl was out at camp for 2 months. I guess he moved his lab there, you know, like, sure. Of course his lab is, like, fucking, like, you know, super sci-fi horror aesthetic lighting for me, you know. It's got that very, like, From Beyond shit, you know, going on with the, like, the bright neon lights. And I'm just there, like, oh, movie, you're trying to win me over. You're trying to win me over with good lighting, you know? Which, like, the lighting is, like, it was, like, blue and, like an orangey red, but not totally, like, that cyan and red that, where the fuck, I had it open before, that these two movies I watched a little bit, like, a few months ago, they were Sputnik and Blood Vessel, and they had, like, shit you not, the same exact, like, color palette. But for those movies, it was like that the entire time. So, whatchamacallit. So this was Blood Vessel, so you can, oh god, you can kind of see, it's red, I don't know why the camera's making it orange, but anyway. And then it was, like, the movie Sputnik, you know, and again, it's red, and, yeah. So, it's like that in the basement, but, like, you know, kind of like an orangey, like a red-orange, and then the cyan color. And I was like, okay, so that's the new, like, sci-fi horror, you know, new age color palette, you know? Like, okay, I guess that's what we're doing whenever it's like, here we are. Fine. Again, aesthetically pleasing, but at the same time, you know, you're like, So in his lab, he had those, like, eelworm thingy-majiggers, whatever they are, leeches or whatever shit. The ones that, like, when you've seen them, like, pressed against, like, glass and they've got, like, teeth inside, that's like, it's like my vagina. It's like my vagina. It's just a bunch of teeth, and it's like, you know, that kind of stuff. You know, TMI. So he has that, and the girl's kind of just like, she's listening to him, but she's not really listening to him. And he's just trying to be very like, sciencey, science. I'm attractive, and I talk about sciencey science. Oh, also the girl is like, you know, she has an interest in science as well, which is why the mom is like, you guys should be able to get along, da-da-da. And he's like, we're fellow scientists, science. You know? And I'm just there like, where is this going? Like, all I'm thinking is like, you know, like, you think, like, you know, steps ahead, especially with these movies. I'm like, all right, what's gonna happen? He's gonna, like, take those leeches thingies and try to, like, feed it to the family. You know, like, you'd be like, those things will kill him in the end, you know, like, whatever that the story will be. So, there was like one night, she like gets up to get a drink or something, and then she hears like them fucking. And instead of, like most movies, you'd be like, ah, God, and you just like go back to your room. She goes to like peek under like the door, like she's gonna like see him plowing like her mom, like, my wife wants you to plow her, like. Like, she's, like, looking under, like, maybe I could get a sneak peek of that dick. Like, honey, like, oh. So, because she sees the shadows, and she, like, runs back to her room and, like, gets under the covers. And she's like, I've been asleep this whole time. They're in, like, a fucking log cabin, mountain lodge kind of thing. And it's like, she ran, and you hear, boop, 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 boop. Oh, I wonder what that sound was, So, she gets in bed, and then you see him, like, again, it was kind of, they were going with the lighting, because whenever weird stuff happens, so she's kind of bathed in the blue, and then, like, the lighting at the door, was, like, the yellowy, the reddish-orange color, and then he's just standing there, shirtless, because why not? And he's just, like, looking in, and I'm like, girl, why didn't you close the fucking door, Or maybe she did, I don't know. When, like, certain times in movies, I just kind of, like, check out a little. But anyway, he's standing at the doorway and he's just like, look at my chesticles, And then, like, he just, like, backs away. And it's like, okay. So then, like, the next day or whatever, she gets on, like, a little, like, inflatable rafty boat with the guy, and they're talking about sciencey science stuff, like you do, So she's in, like a white skirt or whatever, and he's there in, like, another, like, plain neutral color, tight tee, as, you do. And they're out on the boat, and they're talking about sciencey science stuff. And then, I guess because, like, they're by the lake, and lakes have things in them, who knew? So he's going to, like, grab something in the water, and he literally just goes, takes off his shirt again, and I'm like, I've seen this man shirtless, like, 3 times already in this fucking movie, and not much of plot, The dude's shirtless, plot, he, like, takes off the shirt, and of course the girl's like, like, seeing him shirtless, and I'm like, I guess because it's closer this time. A little. But I mean, like, when he came out the water, he was... Anyway, that's really not the point. So... Oh, before that. Oh my god. Oh my... Before that. So when they were having that breakfast, lunch, whatever thing, when she saw his V and that, all that stuff. Anyway, there's one part where, like, he gets up to, like, comfort the mom, and then he puts his hand on the girl's shoulder, and mind you, she's wearing, like, some kind of, like, like, sundress with, like a thin strap kind of thing, to, like, show her chi-chis. She's 16. The mom was even like, maybe if you show off your boobs for boys. I'm like, she's 16. Stop, And so the guy puts his, like, hand on her shoulder, just to kind of, like, give her, like, a little, like, comfort thing. Because he's, like, comforting the mom. He's just like, okay, let me try to comfort her. Like, I know we, like, just met. And then, like, flashes to that evening. The reason why she had to go get a drink in the fucking kitchen was because, flashback to the evening, she's, like, putting her hand on her shoulder, and then she starts dipping her fingers down. And I'm like, oh my god. It's like with watching, like, Holiday. You're like, yeah, again, the hand on the shoulder, and all of a sudden, like, there was a vibe kind of shit. I'm like, y'all guys catch feelings, like, that shit way too quick. I'm just kind of like, bro, like, like, comfort. I'm like, no, I'm good. But she was like, touching my shoulder. But then she was like, I can't. And she goes to, like, grab her. It was like, I loved it said, like, Diet Cola. It was great. On there. And she's like, oh my god, it's empty. And then that's when she went to the fucking kitchen. Anyway. Going back to them on the dinky little rafty boat thing. So they're on there, and then, yeah, he takes off his shirt, and she's seeing him. Because why not? And so then, he goes to grab, like, a thingy, and he grabs, like, I guess a bunch more of those leechial things, you know. Again, it really doesn't matter. So while they're talking, you know, she's kind of sitting there like, I don't know why I backed up, like you can see my legs, but she's like sitting there and her legs are kind of just like whatever and all that stuff, but she's wearing a skirt, and then the camera shows that there's like a little blood trickling like inside like the little dinky boat, and you're thinking like, oh fuck, this is embarrassing. Like she just met this guy that's like her mom's, you know, boyfriend, and she's all like, you know, about it, you know, again, she's 16, of course she's socially awkward, she's fucking 16, and then him, as like a dude, he just, his shirt, his like wadded up shirt, he just like, just shoved it in her crotch. He was like, oh god, he just saw blood, he just like shoved his wadded up, you know, like $5, you know, Target t-shirt into her cooter, just like, huh, and she's like, oh god, like just like so embarrassed. I mean, it is a little bit embarrassing, especially if like a dude's first reaction isn't like, oh dude, you're bleeding, and you're like, fuck, okay, we're on a boat. And that's also like makes it worse because it's like you're on this little dinky boat, you can't just like run away, you know what I mean? You're just like, can we just paddle back over? Yeah, just don't look at me, just paddle back. No, I want you just paddle back. Can you just paddle? Can we just you know? You know, anyway, so of course she's like, oh god, flustered, and then like she grabs onto like the t-shirt like on her cooter, and she's like, okay, you know, and then the guy again trying to comfort her and being like, that's fine, you know, pretty much being like, this is how bodies are, don't worry and shit, and then he's like, we're both scientists, see, and then you know, he like pulls up his hand, he has a little bit of blood on his fingers, and he goes, oh, I was like, oh, movie, oh, movie, what are you doing? What are you doing, movie? You already are establishing some, like, stepdaddy kink happening here, and then it's like, with the blood that he got from her, and all that stuff. I was like, yo, I was like, nah. So, of course, she's just, like, even more, like, I don't know. And anyway, so, like, flash a little bit more forward, because what else is that? Oh, wait, actually, no, not flash forward. Oh my god, what am I talking about? I'm missing out on the thing. So, they get back. Of course, she immediately like, gets up from the boat, and her white skirt is just covered in the most fakest fucking blood ever. You might as well just had a spray bottle of ketchup. You know, that kind of shit. So anyway, she goes take a shower, like you do when you have an accident like that. So she takes a shower. Dude knocks on the door a couple times. She doesn't answer, which I'm also kind of like, why are you... You know, like, if she's not answering, at least say something like, hey, I just hope you're okay, like, don't feel embarrassed, blah, blah, blah. But he just kept knocking, and I was just kind of like, okay, if you're not going to say something, obviously she's not saying something, just leave and let her, like, cleanse, you know, and then maybe, like, 3 hours later she'll come and talk to you or something, you know? But then, like, you know, at one point she was just kind of like, she's like, alright, I'm in the shower, and he's like, sorry, okay, I just want to let you know, don't worry, blah, 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 I know it's awkward, but, you know, blah, blah, doing that thing again. But as he's saying that, he has opened the door, and he is, like, slow, like, he's not creeping in, but he has opened the door, which I don't know why she didn't realize the door was open, because, like, doors make sounds when they open, you know? But anyway, he's, like, standing there, still shirtless, because, you know, because he, like, the shirt, you know, that was on a cooter is, like, in the bathroom. And so he's still shirtless. He just hasn't, you know, done anything. So, he's just kind of like, okay, blah, blah, blah. And so then she's like, all right, whatever. And she's like, blah, 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 shower. And he starts creep. And I screenshotted this because I sent it to Paul. And I said, am I watching a horror film or am I watching porn right now? You know? And he sent me the puking emojis, and that's why he's my best friend. And it's like, where is it? Come on, phone. Yeah, and it's like this, like, girl. Oh, you see, like, freaking, yeah. Can you, yeah, there you go. 16-year-old girl in the shower. This grown-ass man is on the shower curtain, like, like that. Also, he grabs his wadded up shirt that he shoved in her cooter, and it's covered in blood, and then goes and starts sniffing it, and then he's like licking it, and I'm like, stop! I'm just like, this, because it's writer, director. Like you are, there's some fantasy. You probably wanted to make a porn dealie, but you're like, you know what I can do? I can make a film, get freaking Muna Savari in it, and then, you know, put it out to everyone, you know? I mean, technically porn is out to everyone, but you get what I mean, you know? And so, like, he like, and then he like takes the shirt away, you know? And like, she seemed to have like a suspicion that like he was there, because then like finally he leaves, and then she like opens the curtain, and I was just like, wow, it took you, alright. You know. So anyway, yeah, so flash a little bit forward, and the mom was like, oh, you know, actually he proposed to me and blah blah blah, and then the daughter's like, no, because she's like, the awkward stuff and things didn't feel right, and you know, she was already like, I don't, like, this guy isn't all right, because she felt like obviously that stuff was like kind of weird, the thing was weird, and then like the bad touch because his hand was like pretty close to her cooter with the shirt, you know, all that stuff. So like, I get it, I get it. She calls her friend comes over, and she's like, oh my god. She's like, that's gonna be your stepdaddy. You know, like all that stuff. And I'm just sitting there like, oh my god, movie, please stop. You know, just like, please stop. I can't. I just can't. And that really deep like cry you do. You're like, that was me during this point of the movie. Anyway, so yeah, so the mom also like figures out she's probably pregnant, because the mom is also like, she's been feeling a little like under the weather, and she's also like, you know, that kind of stuff. So, oh yeah, so while her friend was like making her way downtown, fucking hell, making her way to her house, she steps out to town, and gets her mom a pregnancy test and some other fucking shit, and then she sees like some dude that looks exactly like gonna be her new stepdaddy, you know, but with glasses on, same, you know, facial hair, all that stuff, but with those clear like hipster glasses. I mean, mine aren't technically clear, you go what I mean, those big clear hipster glasses, but with like a different blonde. You know, he's got a type, you know, that kind of stuff. So, and it's like, is that the same guy? Is it? But anyway, so she gets back, and at one point, I guess she falls asleep. She wakes up, she's like, hey, where's my bestie? And they're like, oh, she left. And she's like, why didn't you wake me up? They're like, yeah, we couldn't. Anyway, whatever. So yeah, we're at the pretty much the climax of the movie, which I shouldn't be using that word because of what we've been witnessing and everything. So, this movie, so at one point, like, the girl wakes up and it's like, what's this weird noise, all that shit. Also, like, at one point earlier in the movie, she sees that the guy had like walked into the lake and it was like glowing that orangey glow as always, and then she catches him, but he's like dry and not wet anymore. I can't use certain words anymore because of the context of this fucking movie. But apparently he sleepwalks. Sure, he sleepwalks. So anyway, so in the creepy basement dungeon thing, there is like a tank, and well, we've seen the tank because it had the little things in it, and the mom is in it, and the daughter's like, oh my god, Mom, because the child is Cartman, and so anyway, so remember I said like the mom is preggers because whatever alien gestation that's in her, you know, is ready to go. So the guy is like pressed up against the glass, like, come on, like, ew, like she gives birth, and you don't really see what it is, you just like see her legs, you know, and then he's like, no, because earlier, at one point the daughter did like reveal to the guy like, oh, you know what, she's 42, she's not 35, you know, hope you're not planning on having another one, like that kind of shit. And also like during that creepy boat ride they had, the girl was like, how old are you, you know, that kind of stuff, and he's like, how old do you think I am? Which always is like, God. I mean, I do that to people because people can never guess my age. You know, as someone who still gets carded for R-rated movies at times. Yeah. People are like, oh, just be glad you get carded at the clubs. Like, no, not the clubs, at AMC. That's where I get carded at. I get carded at AMC, okay? And at GameStop. But that's why I PC game now. So, the girl's like, I don't know, you're like 26? I was like, that motherfucker do not look 26, okay? Like, let me bring up that screenshot again. That is not a 26-year-old man, you know? Where the fuck is it? God, come on. Like that's not 26. All right, bro, that's not 26. I was like 37, 38, almost 40, you know? 43, you know, like a good 43, a bad 37, you know, that kind of stuff. And then he goes, "Oh, I'm 30." And I was like, "You are not 30. You are not 30, motherfucker." It's again, like with Holiday and like, you know, the guy is like was born in what, like 1989 and some shit like that, and I was like, y'all need to learn to moisturize, you know, holding up my cocoa butter, you know, moisturize is be better for you, you know, like, also the guy was like oddly tanned, like, you know, he's not like a dude who naturally has that colored skin, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, he's tanned before. He's one of those people that tan so much that you like, if they didn't tan, you know what I mean, then like if they really were stuck indoors, like probably like now, you'll be like, oh my god, you're so pale. It's like, no, this is my actual color, but normally I'm in the sun because then it's a crispy color. Anyway, so the mom, you know, tries to give birth and it doesn't happen well because probably she's too old for whatever gestation thing that they want, you know. So now you're like, is it aliens? Is he a lizard person? Because there's also one point where like the guy like hugs the mom, you know, after the girl was like, I don't like your boyfriend, I don't like your, you know, I don't want this guy's my new stepdad, like that kind of stuff. And she's like, you're always having these fits, this mess, you know, like that thing that always happens. And he like hugs her and then looks at her and does the eye blinky this way, you know, very Men in Black. And I was like, wow. And then there was like another time where like, once they found out that she was pregnant and everything's fine again, and they're fucking again. And of course the daughter like actually like I guess the door was open, probably on purpose or some shit, and like she looks in and like she just sees the guy just plowing his mom, her mom. Anyway, but like his back starts getting all like ripply and scaly, and I was like, I'm not feeling comfortable, you know. So anyway, back in the tank thingy. So like the dude doesn't know the girl is in the basement kind of stuff, and she's like, oh my god, what'd I do? And then whatever. She calls 911 and she's like, oh my god, my stepdaddy, blah, blah, blah. And then the operator's like, ma'am, is this porn? You know? And so then she noticed there was like another tank that her bestie is in, and then she's like, oh my god, my bestie, thank you, my bestie, you know, that kind of stuff. And I'm like, I didn't even realize it because I saw it and I was like, oh, the mom like probably succumbed to whatever birth thing that was, you know, and then just died because I couldn't tell because again it was like aesthetic lighting and all that stuff. And then but then I noticed dark, you know, curly hair rather than blonde hair, and she's like, my bestie, and I was like, oh, okay, so your friend didn't like go home, they killed her for whatever reason, just because, right, we gotta keep the cast really, really small, okay, like really small. So then anyway, so like she was able to like take her mom out of the tank, and they're like running away, and they're like, we gotta go. And of course the mom is doing that thing of like, I'm sorry, honey, like holding on to her, I'm sorry, honey, I didn't believe in you, because of course that's always happens. And then all of a sudden there was like a kind of thing happening, and then the girl wakes up in like this blue room that makes me think of that blue room in Dark. If you watch the Dark TV show, she's bound, you know, well, she's got her hand to dust, she's got a gag thingy, and all I'm thinking is like, I was already like, oh my god, this writer-director has several kinks you want us to know about, you know? So, of course, then it's like him and like several other hymns, like I didn't get a clear view, and by then I was like, we only have like 5 minutes left, I'm not gonna pause and really analyze this. Like, going into the room and like punching the walls, and like while punching the walls there's like more women like locked up in like Event Horizon pods kind of stuff, you know, and then like the main guy comes up to her and he's just like saying like some stuff to her, and at one point, like, what was it, like when he was like attacking her in the basement, he had like a weird tentacle monster come out of his mouth, and again I'm like, oh, we just like a list of like kinks, and I'm like, are you just, wow, bro, like, you are into some shit. You know, not to kink shame, but this director, bro, like, you have a list. Anyway, so then he goes and, like, holds her mouth open, and, like, some, like, blue color, whoa, comes out of his mouth, and then he, like puts his mouth to her, like making out, and then the blue thing goes into her, and he puts his hand over her mouth, and he's like, swallow, and I was like, this writer director's got a daddy breeding kink, you know? He's got a tentacle kink, he's got that stepfather thing, you know, he's got the check marks, you know, oh my god. And she's like, oh, you know, then it, like, fades to black, bam, goes back up. She's in, like, this kind of diamond, like, pod with, like, water. It's, like, weird because it's like she's lying down with the water coming down on her, but at the same time she's, like, probably most likely, like, up, you know, up straight like this. Anyway, she's in a pod, it's filling up with water, and it slowly starts zooming out, and there's, like, more and more, like, you would see more and more women in these, like, similar pods, but they're wrapped in kind of like a cocoon kind of thing, and they all have, like, that orangey kind of, like their hair became ginger, you know, also a little copy-paste of the people they put in there. And, of course, she's like, ah, ah, all that stuff, and all of a sudden it's like, you know, like that kind of stuff. And then the movie ends. That's it. That's it, guys. Yeah. So, like, okay, I get it. You know, you want to do this thing of, like, you know, probably evil stepfather, blah, blah, blah. I'd rather that this turned out that that guy was a killer. You know? Like, that kind of stuff. Like, the Stepfather movie. Or movies, because there's several. Rather than this thing of, like, he's, like, a swamp monster kind of person who just wants to breed, and obviously that shit failed because the mom was too old for it, you know, and so then of course he's gonna use her because she's 16, you know, that kind of stuff. So it's like, oh man, it's just like, I was watching it, like, I just couldn't stop laughing, because also, like, the amount of times a guy took his shirt off, you know, like, this whole, like, stepdaddy kind of thing, oh my god, and just, like, ow, that was my hand. And it's also, like, was it, like, the top, the top review on Letterboxd was like, a question to my Letterboxd friends, especially the ones who live in the USA, are scientists nowadays as good looking as supermodels? Because I'm okay with them being fit and healthy, fit and health conscious, but this guy is just buffed. Oh god. And someone else said, well, this added a new level of disgusting for a man telling a woman the phrase, just swallow. Yeah, because he's like, just swallow. And I was like, oh, no, no. What? Another solid sci-fi with loads of sexual but she's 16! Like, why are you guys not seeing how gross that is? My voice is up here now. That's how much of a problem I have. Voice right up there. Yeah, like, just, ew, no. Bro, you're 30, and she's 16. 30, you know? And, like, no. Like, it's kind of, like, initially it was, like, kind of funny, because she was just, like, just looking at him, but I was also like, honey, no, don't do that. No, don't do that. No, don't do that. You know? This was not a good movie. I gave it 2 stars. I gave it 2 stars because it's, like, one, like, the aesthetic lighting, because, like, that you could always win me over with that kind of shit. But also, like, just the sheer hilarity of the fact that that man took his shirt off as much as fucking what's-his-name did in Twilight New Moon. Just, like, every time I was like, she's gotta take my shirt off. I just gotta show you my TV! You know, like, oh, do you wanna see that? I just have just also a sprinkle of hair on my tum-tum, you know? Like, oh my god. Anyway, this is not a good movie. It's not. But if you want to watch something ridiculous, I would say sure. And this, like, guy hasn't, like, this is, like, his only thing he's directed. He's done cinematography for, like, a few things, and this is the only thing he's, like, really written for. Like, it's like, wow. I don't know who you know in the biz that you were able to, like, get this like launched off, and the fact that it like came down to my lap to be like, oh, I can't say that because of the context of this movie. I can't say something came down on my lap. Fuck. But yeah, the fact that this was like well known enough that I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna put on some old tunes for your kids. Yeah. Also for like, I did. It doesn't. I don't recall them saying it in the movie, but like looking at like IMDb and shit, the dude's name is John Smith. Bro. Really, John Smith? Really? I mean, alright, that's what... But anywho, that's it.